So welcome back to one of my videos. I completed half an hour ago the knitting of Bob's head. There's Billy. They got named in the last video, at the end of the last video. I thought, yeah, Billy and Bob. At least I can put it into a playlist, Billy and Bob's playlist. So Billy has been completed, and now we're going to do Bob. I have a whole lot of stuffing. It's amazing how much stuffing can get into one little guy. So we won't know how much we're going to need until I start. I have a pencil with a rubber on the end, an eraser to push the stuffing in. I have a pair of scissors. I have some black yarn for the eyes and the nose. I have some spare yarn. This one here, which will be another video on putting his tentacles on. But I just put this spare yarn there because the yarn that I have on the tentacles is not enough. So this video will be sewing up the head and stuffing it. I'll put Billy aside and we'll focus on Bob. So firstly, the decision on what is the bottom and what is the top. The top has been closed tightly and the bottom has been left open for the stuffing. I am going to close it by sewing up the side, and I do it from the right side of the work. In other words, I'm doing it from the correct side. This will be the exterior, and that is the side that I'm sewing it up from. Closing up the circle. The previous video on the knitting of the body explains exactly the design, but these are basically 9 stitches here. Maybe not quite the right needle. This is a blunt nose darning needle. I'm going to be folding it out a little bit. I really do enjoy sewing up stocking stitch. Such a contrast to 30 years ago when I started out knitting and I did not like it. So what I do is I go from side to side and I either catch one loop or I catch 2, depending whether I think the loop is going to hold or not. This one here is quite stretchy. So I'm going to get another one, come over to that side. Because there were a lot of decreases happening, it does affect the stitches on the edge compared to, for instance, when there's no decrease or increase. The edge has a different feel to it. I try to keep the decrease and increase away from the edge for that very reason. But when you sew up, you try and avoid to have those, they're like little knots. As far as possible, I'm trying to get as close to the bottom. You can see if you turn it out like that. Let me check our position. If you turn it out like this, you can see that there is an absolute edge there. I'm going to the one that's just a little bit above it. There's the one that's just a little bit above it, and there's the absolute edge. I know it's white. It's not the ideal color for seeing when you're sewing up. But once you start doing it and you see the makeup of the stitches and how they are, you'll see what I mean by an absolute edge and then the one next to it. Sometimes I do use the absolute edge, and that's if I want it to be completely flat. When you do not want any kind of seam. If it's for neonatal, if it's a little hat or something and you think that there's any possibility that the seam will be at the back of the head, then you absolutely do not want to have a bumpy seam, because the little tiny thing is going to be lying on that. Can you imagine lying on a big bump like that for hours and hours? Look, if you see on the inside, you can see that ridge there. If it was a neonatal hat, I would do everything to eliminate that. Sometimes they add like a little something in the on the hat where the seam is, so that the nurses will put that to the front. It might not be as pretty, but it's far more comfortable. So there's like a little tiny bow or just some little decoration, then automatically the nurses and the mum will move that to the front of the head. Even for an older child, if you know that the child's going to be lying down in the hat, for instance, in the pram or something, or even sitting, when they're sitting in their little prams and they've got their head against the back of the pram, that ridge can become very uncomfortable. Okay, so now I'm coming to the end. I'm going to work all the way down, but I must be careful not to catch this guy because otherwise I cannot close him later. So just to be on the side of prudence, I can leave it a little bit open. One more. I'll just do one more there. So it's a small hole, but the pencil is going to help me. So that is 5 minutes, 5 minutes 41. It took to sew up. When I really get going, when I've got the pattern I like, then what I do is I'll knit, for instance, 10 of them, and I'll sew them all up at the same time. So I have all the tools that I need for sewing up. And once I've got 10 sewn up, then I'll stuff 10, because then I have all the tools for stuffing. And it makes it go much faster if you are making a lot of something. These are for charity. So I'm not making one-offs. I will be making lots. Billy and Bob will be going on their way. They'll go out into the wild. I don't know what their destiny is. Hopefully they'll be going down to the Thula Baba project in Cape Town. But I cannot tell you what their actual destiny will be. And it's amazing. I mean, I am in my 50s and I still come across toys that I had as a child in the 70s. I had my mum's house. So we never know how long something will be around. And that's why if we're going to put our love and care into making it, then it does make a difference to try and finish it properly, sew it up properly, sew the tentacles on properly so they don't come loose. Because once a toy is damaged, then it's not safe to be with the child anymore, and it will end up in a closet somewhere or something like that. Because not a lot of people do not have anything at home to fix, to darn, to sew up, to correct. And some people just don't have the dexterity. They haven't learned needlework. And so your lovely little toy that you made with such care and attention because it came loose or unraveled ends its journey at the bottom of a cupboard. I went to the charity shop a couple of weeks ago and I bought some teddies. I bought them for my puppies. My puppies are little. And some of them needed some darning and some sewing because some of them they were a little bit damaged. So that's where their journey ended. They weren't new toys. They had, from I could see from them that they'd had a life, that they had probably been loved by somebody. But because they were damaged, they couldn't continue their journey in the home that they were in. I mean, there might be other reasons why they ended up in the charity shop. I don't know. But my puppies love them. They carry them into their beds. Every now and then I've got to clean out their little nest. They have a little nest. And all the toys are in there. And I take them out again. And then they have fun taking them back in. My little min pins are like magpies. They collect all kinds of things. Today I saw one of them was carrying a clothes peg that had broken and fallen to the floor at the washing, and she had carried it inside and she was chomping down on it. So you can use your fingers, you can use the rubber end of the pencil. The rubber catches on the stuffing, which is really wonderful. I like that. Creating a hole with my finger. I'll put the stuffing in there. Because I want it to be overstuffed. It's almost like when you have an orange and you want to get the juice out. We used to do this when I used to play netball. We were given an orange, and then we would roll it in our hands till all the fiber inside was nice and soft, broken up, and then we would make a little hole and we'd drink the juice out. Here at home, we actually had a little thing a plastic thing that would swivel into the orange, a little serrated edge. It was for drinking the juice out of the orange or a lemon. Yeah, it's balancing nicely. Happy with that. It's going to put a little bit more in the middle. Donkeys. Sounds like the donkeys got into the garden, which of course will set the dogs off. And if the big dogs start barking, then my miniature pinchers will start barking. This is a live video. Well, not live, I'm not recording it live, but it will be loaded up as if it was a live video. So there will be no editing out of dogs and donkeys. Pulling it closed. Now I'm going to leave it slightly open because the last one I couldn't get the black in. And I put the eyes in. So this time I'm not going to completely close it up. Zaza, outside. Zaza, pause. And I am back. Now what did I do with my glasses? Little Zara wants to be cuddled. No, Zara, I'm busy making a video. Zaza was almost naughty girl on the carpet. Hey, little Zara. To do the eyes, I'm going to use a sharp needle. I'm first going to find the seam and I'm going to put that at the back. There's the seam. Put that at the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the bottom of Bob. We're going to come out and do his nose first. This is going to be the bottom, where the strong ridges are. The puppies are all awake, so they're going to be making little puppy noises. I'm leaving a little bit at the bottom because I'm going to tie it off afterwards. Go one down for the nose and then across for the eyes. I'm going to give him a different expression. From belly. Go down and then across. Go down and up like that. Doesn't really matter what you do. I come back here, I'm going to just pin the black down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the nose, going as deep as possible, because with Billy we had to do a bit of a repair job. Okay, going back into the nose. Now here I count. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm going to be doing this one first, so it's 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zaza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get into my dressing gown. Come on, climb in. She's absolutely tiny. She's 5 months and she's barely a kilo weight. 2, 4, 5. And she wants to climb into my dressing gown. She climbs into my dressing gown. There we go. I'm happy with that. And then there's a cross beam. I mean, the eyes I'm just doing as I feel. There is no rhyme or reason to their expression. So that's across 1V. That's a V. So it comes just across 1V and it goes slightly up. So across 1V and slightly up. And down. I almost feel needs one more. It can be tricky to get eyes to match. I'm going to go all the way across. You might have a particular expression that you like, that you will use more than any other expression. I still have yet to find one that I'm very fond of, because this is a new adventure, making these little guys. They're almost like little snowmen, aren't they? And then go there, and then I'm going to go back to the nose. Make sure this needle is really as deep as possible. Pliers to pull it out. Before I pull it all the way, just disentangle this from the stuffing. Otherwise your eyes are going to pucker. And then we'll ruin the whole effect. Go back into the nose, go as deep as possible, and then come out the bottom. Now because I didn't sew up that hole like I did with Billy, once I've tied the knot on the black, I can stuff them back in and then I'll close the hole. Pull it up, give it a little tug. I'm very happy with that. I think those are quite secure. Cut the black string off. And then I'll work that inside. The tentacles will be covering this. There he is. He's closed off. 20 minutes in. Yeah, if you're making a lot of time, it will be very quick. When you have all your eyes to make and you have your yarn ready, and before you know it, you'll have all your eyes done. Just want to make sure this is nice and secure here, because I'm going to be sewing the tentacles onto this. Okay, where is the sharp one? Or a sharp one, it doesn't matter which one. I just want to work into the body and then come out some way. Same with the other side. This was sewing up. Remember, this one was sewing up this here. You can just double check that it is nicely closed off. Always give it a little extra tug. And then you work it away. So even though I have cut it and there is those little pieces, as soon as you put your needle in there and you go like this, they disappear. So you don't have to cut dangerously close to your knitting, because scissors are sharp, and if they catch even one of these little guys, your whole thing will come undone and you're going to be so sad about that. So there we go. Billy and Bob just now needs his tentacles sewn on. Thanks for watching. Let me say Zaza's going to say goodbye. Where's little Zaza? She's sleeping. She's like, what are you doing waking me up? Here's little Zaza. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. Oh, my baby. She's like, oh, I don't appreciate being woken up. Don't worry, the octopus will be washed before they go on their journey. Okay, cheers, guys. Bye.